One of the best video game adventures I had as a kid was none other than The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I would get lost for hours exploring the vast world of Hyrule, going from a lush green meadow to a harsh barren desert. The Zelda franchise is so ingrained in my mind that I could be literally anywhere, at any place, at any time, and I would recognize it just by the game's sound effects. At the gym, doing a light warm-up on bench press, Zelda. Having dinner with the boys after a long day of busting ghosts, Zelda. In an epic battle, as I find out that my arch nemesis is really my father, though Zelda was not the only game from my childhood that's left an everlasting impression on me. However, I always thought it would be cool to have a title that blended the sense of exploration and adventure that Zelda offered with the gothic horror atmosphere that CastleVania offered. And luckily for me, I may have found such a game, Mina The Hollower. Our journey begins with our hero Mina on a voyage to the Isle of Tenebris. As 10 years ago, Mina created the spark generators, an invention that brought prosperity to the land. However, recently, the light of these generators has started to falter, warping the landscape around them. The Baron, Leon, expresses concern that the issue causing the generator problems may be more than just a technical one, and something sinister might be afoot. And it's not long before those concerns are deemed correct, because if out of nowhere, a Kraken attacks the ship, knocking the crew out cold, leaving our fierce Hollower to fend off the giant monster, and our adventure begins. Now, one thing I want to point out is how the game uses the environment to explain what to do next. Instead of having a tutorial message pop up saying press A to jump, it simply puts an obstacle on our path with a floating coin up above, thus attempting to teach the player what to do without those annoying pop-up tutorials every few seconds. Up ahead, we come across Boatswain. What a name. And he explains to us that it's dangerous to go alone, so we should grab a weapon from the chest. Where we're presented with 3 options: the Night Star, the Blast Strike Maul, and the Whisper and Vesper daggers. Of course, I picked the whip. Like I said before, I'm a massive CastleVania fan. Now, the cool thing is, each one of these weapons plays pretty differently from each other, as the devs really wanted to mix up the gameplay and offer variety when it comes to combat of Mina The Hollower.
I think one of the things that we want to explore is having variety of gameplay, having like, what if, you know, we had the weapon variety of a Bloodborne, maybe not the quantity, but the variety at least. Or like a Monster Hunter, you know, so that adding complexity into the actions that you're doing and letting that kind of play and make the gameplay more dynamic.
After you get your weapon of choice, it is not long before you're put right into the first boss fight. By the way, I absolutely love when a game starts off with a boss fight as epic as this. It just sets the pace of the rest of the game, fighting a giant sea monster on the raging sea, pure awesomeness. I mean, this is the same setup that kicked off God of War, and we all know how great that franchise is. This boss is so intense and so powerful that you're most likely not going to beat him on your first attempt. In fact, that's kind of what the devs expect. You're most likely going to lose this fight. But after you learn the game and get a bit better, you could go back and try again, beating the monster, and upon doing so, you'll unlock a special item. And this type of item is a trinket, which adds another layer to depth and complexity to the gameplay.
It has 3 things in her arsenal. She has her weapons. She also has trinkets that modify her. They can be stat changes, like more defense, more attack. They can also do things like change her behavior. Maybe she's in the ground longer, or when she comes out of the ground, she explodes. Those kinds of things are optional upgrades you can find along the way.
Whether you win or lose, the end result is the same. The Kraken rams the ship, causing it to crash, and for the rest of the demo, we get to discover secrets, fight monsters, whip candles, level up, and encounter even more incredible boss fights. But like I said at the beginning of the video, Mina has a blend of CastleVania atmosphere with Zelda gameplay. It is simply phenomenal. It really feels like the developers did a great job at blending the DNA of these 2 legendary franchises.
What games did you play in preparation when you were starting to program the gameplay for this title?
Definitely like a lot of Zelda, a lot of CastleVania, also kind of some Souls games too. Like when we found out, like when we combined Zelda and CastleVania together, you accidentally get this like kind of Souls feel.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Oh boy, another Souls-like, pushing over-punishing gameplay. No thanks. Well, don't worry, because it's not the developers' intentions to have this game be as hard as Bloodborne or Elden Ring.
We don't want it to be like as punishing as a true Souls game. I think it's going to be more difficult than like your average, like, you know, like something like Link's Awakening. I think sometimes people like they see like that Game Boy art style and they might guess that it's like Zelda difficulty, but I think it's like it's a little bit more difficult, but we don't want it to be like a true Souls game. That's probably like too punishing.
And after spending some time with the demo, I actually do agree. The game is challenging, but it's not so hard that you feel like you're just hitting your head against a brick wall over and over again. On the other hand, it's not so easy that it's just brain dead. I mean, just look at my overall stats upon completing the demo for the first time. I had 7 deaths and it took me 36 minutes. I could honestly say I really enjoyed my time with the demo for Mina The Hollower. The combat felt great, the world was fun to explore, the pixel art was beautiful, and boy is the music phenomenal. Plus, it has some great charming moments, like seeing an enemy nosedive towards me only to miss the platform I'm on and nosedive into a bottomless pit, basically killing itself. Mina The Hollower is set to release on October 31st onto Steam and hopefully console platforms, but I would love to hear what you all think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. By the way, if you made it this far and did enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like, and if you are new, please consider subscribing. As for me, I got a ton of work to do, so I'm gonna get back to the grind and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.